the principal figure, the instigator in this fraudulent and corrupt venture. High-ranking officials may well have been involved, but their involvement appears to have followed upon the initiative of accused one. Although the law permits the counts to be taken together for the purpose of sentence, to do so, in taking all 7 counts together for the purpose of sentence, as agreed, may cause an imbalance, and as a result, an unjust sentence. The admitted and agreed facts relating to the charge of fraud reveal accused one to be the mastermind behind the commission of that offence. Following an advertisement pertaining a tender, it was accused one that set the plan in motion. He approached a third party with whom he concluded a franchise agreement, and upon the conclusion of that agreement, accused two was registered as a company, again at the instance of accused one. Then followed the completion and signing of tender documents containing false and fraudulent information, once more the doing of accused one, and by then accused two. The tender to the value of 228,665,280 rand was awarded, not on merit, but through the conduct of accused one and two, who corruptly influenced and colluded with a member of the bid committee to ensure that the tender was awarded to accused two. An amount in excess of 50 million rand was paid out to accused two, and by implication accused one as its director. The influence exercised by accused one took the form of monetary gratification, comprising of 3 payments of 100,000 rand each. Again, the doing of accused 1, 2, and 3, bearing in mind that accused 1 is the sole director of accused 2 and accused 3. The payment of those gratifications forms the basis of counts 2, 3, and 4. It was accused 1 that personally, and as the director of accused 2 and 3, orchestrated the gratification payments in a clandestine manner to avoid detection, conduct which lays the basis for counts 5, 6, and 7. These facts, as admitted by accused 1, 2, and 3, tell the story of a person possessed with a corrupt, deceptive, and devious mind, capable of orchestrating a carefully planned criminal operation. I have noted the willingness of accused 1 to cooperate in the investigation of high-ranking officials implicated in criminal conduct, and 1 appreciates that he holds information that could assist the National Prosecuting Authority. His own involvement in the offences set out in counts 1 to 7 must not be underestimated merely because certain of those who colluded with him holds high office. On the information placed before me, it was accused 1 who was the kingpin in the defrauding of the South African Police Services, assisted by persons holding office within the police service.
Senior South African Police Service Officer Brigadier Rachel Mojeng has been dismissed after an internal disciplinary process found her guilty of multiple counts of serious misconduct linked to her relationship with the alleged underworld figure Vusimuzi Madlala. Acting National Commissioner Lieutenant General Puleng Dimpane confirmed the dismissal, describing it as a decisive step in restoring integrity within the police service. Mojeng was found guilty on several charges, including accepting gratification, money laundering, dishonesty, and conduct prejudicial to the administration of the SAPS. Disciplinary findings also concluded that she improperly advised Madlala in a manner that undermined the interest of police service. In addition, she was found guilty of providing him with a list containing details of SAPS members with the intention of obtaining a financial benefit. Dimpane said the outcome demonstrates the SAPS commitment to rooting out corruption and holding members accountable, regardless of rank. She said the dismissal sends a clear message that corruption, criminality, and any form of collusion with criminals have no place within the South African Police Service. Mojeng is among 12 police officers implicated in the controversial 360 million rand Medicare 24 SAPS tender scandal, a matter that continues to expose alleged corruption and criminal infiltration within the country's law enforcement structures. Her dismissal marks one of the most significant disciplinary actions taken against senior SAPS officials linked to the high-profile scandal, as authorities intensify efforts to restore public confidence in the police service. Meanwhile, Vusimuzi Madlala and his four co-accused are set to stand trial from July 20, 2026 in Gauteng Division of the High Court in Johannesburg after the legal representation of one of the accused was finally confirmed, the National Prosecuting Authority said on Thursday. The trial was able to proceed after lawyers representing accused Musekekana informed the state that they had received the necessary financial instructions to continue with his defense, removing the final obstacle to the long-awaited proceedings. Madlala will stand trial alongside Kekana, Diego Floyd Mabusela, Tsakani Madlala and Zandile Nzama on a combined 25 charges. The charges include 11 counts of attempted murder arising from 3 separate shooting incidents that state alleges occurred between August 2022 and January 2024. The prosecution also alleges that the accused engaged in money laundering linked to the alleged criminal enterprise. According to the state, they used a fraudulent invoice in an attempt to conceal the origin of the funds and misled the court. In a related development, the court has directed the Office of the National Director of Public Prosecutions and DPP to respond by July 11, 2026 to representations submitted by Nzama, the fifth accused. Her representations were previously rejected by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Johannesburg, and the NDPP must now indicate how it intends to proceed ahead of the trial. Accused 1, 2, and 3 remain in custody, while accused 4 and 5 remain out on bail after their bail conditions were extended, pending the start of the trial. The NPA said it was ready to proceed with the matter, and said the National Prosecuting Authority remains committed to presenting its case before the court and is confident that the evidence to be led during the trial will assist the court in reaching a just outcome. The case has attracted widespread public interest because of the seriousness of the allegations, which include attempted murder, money laundering, and fraud. With the trial now set to begin on July 20, the state is expected to present evidence against Madlala and his co-accused before the Johannesburg High Court. On the other hand, the Madlala Commission had last week that Witness I, a Hawks Tactical Operations Management Section, TOMS officer, previously stayed at an attempted murder accused Tenderpreneur Vusimuzi Madlala's family home in Mamelodi, Soweto, for 2 years. Witness I testified partly in camera about what transpired during the 300 million rand Eratzin drug bust. Witness I said, I heard that there is a plan to disclose my stay at Madlala's house to discredit me. Previously, he had testified that he did not have a relationship with Madlala. On Wednesday, he stated that Captain Felani Zungu arranged his stay at Madlala's familial home following an attempt on Witness I's life. Witness I said in September 2023 he was attacked in his home and had to be hospitalized for a week. He added that his service pistol was stolen during the attack and said, I heard that the attack was a hit and I did not know who the assailants were. Captain Felani Zungu had a similar fear. He warned that the group might come back to finish me off. Felani took me to a house, and at the time, I did not know the property belonged to Vusimuzi Madlala. He stated that at that time, it did not concern him that the house belonged to Madlala's family because he knew Madlala as a businessman. Told the commission he had no direct contact with Madlala during his stay in Mamelodi and said, during my stay I did not meet or talk to Madlala. I have had no direct communication with Madlala until I met him with Captain Zungu and Brigadier Mokoena, as mentioned in my statement. He added that he moved to an empty house with his own family. Said I was given access to an empty house. The house at the back had outside rooms. The person who rented a back room told me that the house belonged to Madlala. Witness I has accused senior police officers, including generals, of interfering in the Eratzin drug bust. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.